All right, Scorpio, welcome in. How is it going? I cannot believe we are talking about November, but here we are. And November is a very busy month. There are over 30 aspects going on, transits that are talking to each other. We've got a ton of planets going direct. I really feel like or going retrograde. I feel like the retrogrades are the big story. But for you, I want to highlight a few things as we go through this reading. I will go through things much more in order in the second part of this reading. But I really want to highlight for you right now, as we get into November, we have Mars and Mercury in Scorpio, but very quickly on the 4th of November, Mars is getting out of Scorpio. So leaving your first house and moving into the second house of Sagittarius. Okay, we have got a full moon in Taurus on the 5th, the next day. As soon as Mars moves into Sag, it's opposing Uranus in Gemini. So what does this all mean? We've got a lot of first house, seventh house energy. If you're watching these readings, I highly recommend you watch for your rising sign, because the reason being is that the rising sign maps the astrology roadmap, right? The rising sign is the first point in your astrology chart, and then the signs follow around organizationally from that first point. So if you're a Scorpio rising, second house is Sag, third house is Capricorn, fourth house is Aquarius. That's how we know. That's how we know what parts of your life are going to be impacted. And watching for your rising sign is really like this is your 3D roadmap. Okay. So that will work with any reading if you watch that. Now, let's see where we go with the reading here. But I do want to say to you that there's a ton of energy in Scorpio. First of all, we have that new moon Scorpio later in the month. We have a full moon in Taurus, which is your opposite sign. So this is hitting your first and seventh house, the me versus the we. And in the energy of Taurus, we've got Uranus going back into Taurus this month. So there's something about a relationship tying up. You're tying up loose ends. There could be a sudden conversation with an ex. So just heads up on that one. And a lot going on in terms of your identity moving forward. I feel like some of you are really going to be paying attention to relationships more, mostly because Venus is moving into Scorpio. And that's your first house. So Venus is going to be like, hey, I want to be seen. I want to be loved. So if you're tying up some loose ends in terms of how you do relationship, this month is really going to help you flesh out what comes next. Okay. We've got a Mercury retrograde the entire month. And that starts in Scorpio and goes back into Sagittarius. So a lot of energy in your signs. I'm just going to move my notes over here for a minute. Let's start the reading. There's a lot more to this month than what I even just said to you. Okay. Pay attention to the retrogrades. I feel like those are really the big pillar kind of happenings this month. The retrogrades are just off the hook, and we have Jupiter going retrograde later in the month. So just adding that to the pile. All right. Underneath is message. Safe travels. I like that. Safe travels. Power. Wow. And divinity. Every time that card comes up, I go, wow. Okay. So Pluto's in Aquarius right now. And that is your fourth house, right? Yes. It's your fourth house of your foundations and your nurturance. And I feel like that there's something about you traveling a lot. It's almost like if you've picked up traveling as a main theme in your life, you're searching for your God. You're searching for what you believe in. You're searching. I feel like some of you could be doing a ton of travel and it's just like, yeah, I just like to travel. But most people that like to travel, there's a quality of journey to it overall. Like if you look at the roadmap of everything you've done in terms of travel, there's a quality to it. There's a quality of I'm seeking something, right? Let's say, all your travel is like to a beach, right? I'm just seeking peace. I'm seeking sun. I'm seeking peace. And maybe, maybe this is about like the fantasy, the whole Jimmy Buffett thing about like living in Margaritaville, whatever it is. Like that is indicative of where you want to be when you don't have to be. What if you're traveling and looking at a lot of historical monuments? You're looking at a lot of cool little towns. You're doing a road trip, Route 66 across the US. Whatever it is, the travel is going to show you what you're seeking. What are you trying to find? And this is why some places don't appeal to you, because it doesn't have any resonance with what you're trying to find. Okay? So some of you could be getting out of relationship, tying that up, and like hitting the road. Like finally things are tied up. Finally things are finished. And I really just want to get out of here. Taurus in the 7th house is like not so fast. Okay, we've got a full moon in Taurus, so there is a closing up. Uranus popping back into Taurus. There is a sudden surprising aha moment of like, oh, these are the things I have to tie up. It has something to do with power. Your journey has something to do, is centrally located at power. Who's got power and who doesn't? How do you seek power? How do you see power in your life? What kind of power do you have? Or do you feel powerless? Chariot. There's Cancer. I haven't even talked about the grand water trine that we're dealing with, which is lovely energy. Trines are all nice and fluid and flowy. Awesome. The Chariot, the 10 of Pentacles, the Magician, the King of Wands, the 3 of Wands, and this 8 of Wands. So Scorpio, I'm just saying to you that like this feels like you're waiting for your prince to come. You've been waiting, and I get the feeling that you got tired of waiting at some point and you just did it. You just made your own life. You embraced your own power. You did your own thing. Unbelievably awesome. Okay. And now you're kind of like, okay, now what? Now what? Some of you are tying up old relationships. Like I said, 8 of Pentacles. Some of you, that relationship could be with your work. The 7 of Wands, 8 of Pentacles, 7 of Wands, the 10 of Wands, the Queen of Pentacles, the Sun, the 2 of Wands, the 7 of Cups, the Star card, and the Fool. So you're definitely on a new path here. And I see you kind of looking for joy. If you're ending your relationship with your work, the work you're doing, some of you may be looking to go out on your own. 10th house, you have Leo there. And, this year or 2026, if you haven't joined my astrology lives that I'm doing about 2026, you're able to do that. My second set of lives is going to be tomorrow night, Tuesday. This is still October, the last week of October, 29th. So we are going to be looking at how all of the aspects or the big themes in 2026 are going to be impacting people personally. So if you want to jump onto that, you can also join my immersive astrology program. And that kicks off November 5th. So take your pick, whatever you want to do. But this feels like you are definitely on a new path here. And if you have felt that how you're doing your work path is just a constant battle. 7 of Wands, the 10 of Wands. I'm doing everything myself. I feel like I'm rolling a boulder up the hill every day. I'm really wanting to make a decision to move towards something more fun, more joyful. The beach thing could not have been a better example for me to choose. I feel like some of you believe. Have you ever read a book called The 4-Hour Work Week? Some of you believe that everybody else has it easier than you, or that everybody is sort of lying on a beach while you're pounding away. And some of you get really angry about that, okay? That everybody else has it easier than me. I feel like that can lead you into making a decision that you don't quite understand. Like, I'm going to go towards this idea of travel. And it's going to be like life's a beach. It's going to be like, oh, I'm just going to, shepherd people around to gorgeous beaches all year long. And this is going to make it a lot easier. And then I'll meet somebody and then I can do whatever I want. There's definitely some old paradigms flowing through here that I feel like November is going to give you a chance to look at how you're looking at your life that may no longer serve you. Okay. Later in the month, we have Jupiter, right? Jupiter and Saturn, Jupiter trining Saturn, Jupiter in Cancer, and Saturn in Pisces, and that's hitting your 9th house and your 5th house. So Pisces in the 5th house, Saturn and Neptune there. This is like something about your childhood, structures of how you think the world works, because it's trining that 9th house of Jupiter in Cancer. There's something about stepping toward the kind of work you want to do and understanding what childhood images you have of work need to be raised completely and built again. You need a new idea, essentially. And you have some really strong belief systems that are getting expanded, that may no longer serve this purpose, or the energy of like, in order to make money at something, I got to put more time and effort into it. And the universe is saying that's not true. I brought up the 4-hour work week. It's sort of about creating systems for yourself. This is Virgo and Gemini. And Virgo and Gemini are very good at creating systems. They're ruled by Mercury. We have a Mercury retrograde going on in November for most of the month. Okay. It starts, when does it start? Mercury retrograde, November 9th in Sagittarius. And then it goes back into your sign of Scorpio. And so there's something here about rethinking. Like, I wouldn't launch a new business during a Mercury retrograde. I mean, and all of these retrogrades, Jupiter itself is going retrograde in Cancer. So I'm just going to say to you, we have Saturn's going direct later this month. But all of these, basically all of these retrogrades that I'm talking about and all of these 5th house, 9th house stuff, it's sort of like that child that how you think the world works, how you think the world should work. It's showing you that it doesn't work that way. But the good news is, the message that's coming through is like, hey, the world doesn't work like that. But the good news is you get to understand how the world works, or you get to decide, if I'm going to put in place new systems, they're going to be forward looking. We're going to use technology a lot more in the future, AI, we're going to use all this other kind of stuff. And how can I build something for myself that is looking to the future? This power idea, it's almost like there's a childish, so childlike wonder, and like, this is what I want. This is my creational kind of magic wand. But there's also a childish part of you that says, I'm just going to go. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to screw them all. And I'm going to just jump out here. And here I am. Hold on there, Babalooey. Okay? Hold on. Because I feel like you want to just put stuff out there, get frustrated, and so you just throw it out there. And you're like, hey, Jupiter and Saturn are trining, and they're also trining Venus in my sign of Scorpio. I feel like you really need to get, Venus in Scorpio is not super comfortable, but there's something there about you understanding your own worth and value. What do you really have? And not just like aligning with this childhood power anger, but what do I really want to create? Because you could do something that's just to like, screw this company and I'm going to go do something I want. You could do that, but then what? Okay. So I'm going to continue on with this reading. Let's see what you don't see coming. I'm going to take you through each of the transits that I've been alluding to here, and we'll talk more about that. Let's see how this plays out. We'll get some advice. Okay, this is your reading. Link is below. Second half of the reading, I'll see you over there. All right, I hope you enjoyed that video. If it was helpful to you, please consider liking this video and sharing it with anybody who might have a need for similar kind of information. And if you like this video, check out these videos.